Welcome back to the Gridiron Expert. We only have 2 more GE Top 25 videos left this season. We have the one this week, we'll have the one next week heading into Conference Championship weekend, and that'll be it. Because when Championship Saturday is over, all we'll have to do is come out and tell you who we believe the top 4 teams in the country will be. Because the following day is Selection Sunday. We will know who is in the college football playoff, and then we'll dive right on in to the postseason. But there's a lot of football left to be played, guys. There was a lot of football played this last week, where 8 top 25 teams went down. So today, we are giving you our official top 25 poll, guys. No bias, no brand recognition, solely based on what happens on the field. We take every single factor into account. Has nothing to do with the AP poll, nothing to do with the playoff committee, solely based on our metrics and how we believe the team should be ranked heading in to week 13, the final week of the regular season. So let's just go ahead and dive on into it. Let's dive on in to our second to last set of rankings this season. The top 4 guys remains unchanged. That's to be expected, right? None of the top 4 teams look good. Georgia only beat Kentucky by 10. Ohio State got a late touchdown to win by 13. It was only 36-30 over Maryland late in the fourth quarter. So Ohio State survived Maryland. Michigan survived Illinois, beating the Fighting Illini 19-17. TCU needed a game-winning field goal as time expired to beat Baylor on the road 29-28. None of them looked that good. None of them looked dominant, but none of them lost. At the end of the day, a win is a win is a win. That is what matters. Top 4, to me, remain unchanged. Obviously, the team we had at number 5 in Tennessee, the team that was ranked number 5 nationally by the playoff committee, they lost to South Carolina, 63-38. So yes, they dropped a lot, actually all the way to 11th for us here in our rankings. Some could say that'd be lower. At number 5, we have USC, whose win over number 16 UCLA was huge, not just for their Pac-12 title hopes, but for their playoff hopes as well. That was a very good and impressive victory for me. A USC team who still only lost so far this year was by 1 point to Utah, a good Utah team. The Trojans, to me, their win, very, very impressive. Although they did allow a lot of points, even though the defense is bad, they showed a lot of fight. They're getting down 14-0 early, didn't take the lead till midway through the third quarter, battled back and got the win on the road at the Rose Bowl. The Trojans are in a very good spot, and they are arguably the team that benefited the most from that Tennessee loss to South Carolina. So USC up 4 spots in our rankings at number 5. They have a very strong case for the playoff if they can win out, which would include a win over Notre Dame this Saturday, and then, of course, winning the Pac-12 championship, possibly over Oregon. LSU comes in at number 6. No worries there, no change there. We had Clemson all the way up to number 7, though. The Tigers winning against Miami 30-10, moving up 3 spots from 10th to 7th. So a big little jump there for Clemson, who still have a path to the playoff. They're going to need some chaos to happen, but if the Tigers can win out, we know Ohio State or Michigan is going to lose. That's a given. If TCU were to lose, if USC were to lose somewhere down the road, Clemson would have a shot to get into that Final Four. So the Tigers are not out of the race yet. Alabama in at number 8, beat Austin Peay 34-0. Nothing much to say there. Oregon back in the top 10, number 9. They've just kind of been coming and going into the top 10, but they are in there possibly to stay for the rest of the year, moving up 4 spots following their win over Utah, 10th ranked team in the country, beating them 20-17 in Eugene. And then Penn State now cracking the top 10 as well, following their 55-10 victory over Rutgers. You know, that Nittany Lions play really, really good, guys. The only 2 losses they have are to Ohio State and Michigan, the number 2 and number 3 teams in the country. Can't argue too much with that. Penn State playing good football. They are a top 10 team. That completes the top 10 in the first column. We talked about Tennessee over here. They dropped 6 spots in our rankings following that 63-38 loss to South Carolina. The loss was bad enough, whether it had been by 1 point or by 25 points. But the fact they lost that bad and the defense was that atrocious to Spencer Rattler and the Gamecocks is a bit of a concern and why they dropped so far. Some argues they should stay in the top 10. For me, I disagree. So they drop out. The 2, they had a big test against Georgia. Really failed big time there. Then they get crushed by South Carolina, a team that they were 21, 22-point favorites over. I don't think they deserve to stay in the top 10 for that. Tennessee had it lined up perfectly to make the college football playoff, and they blew it. All they had to do was beat South Carolina and Vanderbilt. They blew it. Tennessee in at 11. Kansas State up 2 spots following their victory over West Virginia. A lot of these teams that are moving up in our rankings, guys, have benefited just from the teams that lost ahead of them. A team like maybe Tennessee, a team like Utah, a team like Ole Miss. Guys that lost ahead of them, people are just going to move up because they're benefiting from that. Kansas State was one of them. They beat West Virginia 48-31. If Kansas State can win this Saturday, they will get a rematch against TCU in the Big 12 championship game. So keep your eye out on that. Washington up to number 13, up 2 spots following their victory over Colorado. Again, Washington benefiting from that. Pac-12 race getting interesting, guys. Right now, it would be USC and Oregon in that race, but if Washington can beat Washington State and Oregon were to fall to Oregon State, then Washington could get into the Pac-12 championship game. So the Pac-12 title game is not completely set yet. Washington's still there, but Oregon's going to have to get past Oregon State. That's going to be the key. Washington at 13. Utah down 6 spots to number 14 following their loss to Oregon 20-17. Cam Rising had 3 interceptions in that game, yet the Utes still almost won. Still to be a top 15 team, but it is hard to believe that a team that many had pegged as a playoff contender, many people had pegged as the Pac-12 favorite, now has 3 losses on the year. So not the year that Utah fans expected or hoped for. So Utah down to 14. Notre Dame up 4 spots, benefiting a lot from that big 44-0 victory over Boston College. A couple weeks ago, no one thought this USC-Notre Dame game would be good or competitive. It could be a big one. Could be a lot closer than we think on Saturday. Notre Dame looking to play spoiler over their rival in the Trojans. Florida State also up 4 spots to number 16 following the win over Louisiana 49-17. Again, benefiting from the 4-spot rise, not because of their victory, more so because of what happened ahead of them. Florida State up 4. Tulane up 4 following their victory over SMU. So right now we have Tulane as the number 1 group of 5 team. Now, the kicker is they play Cincinnati this Saturday. So the winner of the Cincinnati-Tulane game will go to the American Athletic Championship game, has a shot to be a New Year's 6 bowl team. If they can win that, the loser, more than likely not even going to make the conference championship game because UCF probably will slip in there. So a lot at stake this Saturday for Tulane. The group of 5 representative in a New Year's 6 bowl game has far from been decided. Far from decided. Could be Tulane, could be Cincinnati, could be UCF. Who knows? A lot at stake over these next 2 weeks when it comes to the group of 5. UCLA down a handful of spots, really just one for us. That loss to USC was not a bad loss by any means. It was a game that UCLA probably should have won. Still a lot of credit to USC, but a game that UCLA should have won. They don't, to me, they're going to be punished horribly for that. They do not fall very far in our rankings, only about a spot or 2 to 18. Cincinnati up 3 spots following their win over Temple, beating them by 20. Again, Tulane and Cincinnati play this Saturday, a huge top 25 showdown, a lot at stake, and we'll have an individual video out for that here in the following days. North Carolina plummeting in the rankings, dropping 8 following their loss to Georgia Tech. The Tar Heels had everything set up for them too. An opportunity to play against Clemson in the ACC Championship as a top 10 team. They're still going to get to play Clemson in the ACC Championship game, but they're not going to be a top 10 team. North Carolina, guys, was about a 20-point favorite entering the game against the Yellow Jackets, had a 17-0 lead against Georgia Tech, who was down to their 3rd-string quarterback and an interim head coach, and the Tar Heels blew it. Can't make this stuff up. Crazy, crazy world we live in with college football, guys. So North Carolina down to number 20. We had them at 12th. Now they're down to 20th. Oregon State cracking the rankings, as we mentioned, defeating Arizona State 31-7. The playoff committee had them ranked last week. We didn't think they deserved it then, but obviously because of their performance against Arizona State on the road, on top of the people that lost ahead of them, Oregon State jumps into the rankings nearly into the top 20, have a chance to move higher up if they can take down Oregon on Saturday. Coastal Carolina did not play this weekend. They do rise up a spot in our rankings, number 22. Chanticleers did not play due to the tragedy at Virginia. And of course, our thoughts and prayers are still out to those players that were tragically killed at Virginia. Obviously, them, their families, and their program, coaches, players, teammates, after everything that happened at the University of Virginia. It's heartbreaking, truly heartbreaking. But Coastal Carolina did not play in that game. Virginia chose to cancel that game. The Chanticleers do move up 1 spot, though. Ole Miss dropping 7 spots all the way down to number 23. Ole Miss getting annihilated by Arkansas, 42-27. That score nowhere near showing how bad the game was. Arkansas led 42-6 at one point. So Ole Miss, I almost dropped them out of the top 25. We knew they were overrated. They had a very favorable first half of their schedule. The back half was very telling. They were destroyed by LSU, narrowly lost to Alabama, destroyed by Arkansas. So what was once a 7-0 start, Ole Miss now has 3 losses, and will be interesting to see if they can regroup against Mississippi State in the Egg Bowl on Thanksgiving night. So Ole Miss barely holding on to their top 25 spot. Texas moving up a spot. We kept them in the top 25, but we proved to be right there with a dominant win over Kansas, 55-14. Texas getting revenge following their upset loss to the Jayhawks last year. And then UCF barely hanging on to that top 25 spot. Really, there was no one outside the top 25 that could justify putting in replacement of UCF, but the Knights dropping 7 spots following their loss to Navy A game against Navy at home where the midshipmen did not complete a single pass, and yet UCF, who at the time was the highest ranked group of 5 team, lost to the midshipmen. Now again though, if UCF can beat South Florida, they will make the American Athletic Championship game because Cincinnati or Tulane is going to lose. All UCF has to do is just win against South Florida, a one-win South Florida team, and the Knights will have their chance to make a New Year's Six bowl game potentially. So lots at stake again in the group of 5, especially in the American Conference over these next 2 weeks. But there you have it, guys. Our Week 13 GE Top 25 poll. We have this one. We'll have the one next week, and then we're done. Because then, by the time this time we roll around, we would already know who's in the top 4. Of course, we'll give you our top 4. We'll probably give you our top 10 heading into Selection Sunday. But this is our second to last ranking of the year. Leave your rankings down in the comments below. Let's debate, let's discuss, and let's get ready for another huge week of college football. It is rivalry week. The stakes could never be higher, guys, and we are excited to be covering every single bit of it right here at the Gridiron Expert. So guys, as always, again, thank you so much for watching. Please continue to like, comment, subscribe, share the videos. Check out everything down in the description below, including the expert picks over on our website, thegridironexpert.com. If you want guaranteed winnings and guaranteed money right in your pocket, thegridironexpert.com is the place for you. Go check it out. Sign up for those picks today. Become a part of our GE Nation. And once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.
Yeah.